She's sharp. She's fearless.
I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how it's going to get clicks, stop it now.
She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seales is here.
I am Amanda Seales.
Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. Starting Friday, July 17th, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seales, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, Black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it.
You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works.
This is not your average radio show. This is a Seales Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6. Starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen. Tune in.
The blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, your host and White House correspondent, joining you live in afternoon drive time right here in LA today. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the socials at Dr. Nicolai. Just type in Dr. Niq, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Have you downloaded the KBLA app? If you haven't, run, don't walk. Download the KBLA app. That way you won't ever miss us, especially when you're on the go. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you won't miss some of our most memorable conversations. We are in hour 2 of our show. Let's start lightish. Trump is flying to England, and instead of that shiny, gifted Qatari jumbo jet that everyone had questions about, remember that? Well, he's back on the old Air Force One. No official explanation given. Now, listen, I cover the White House, but I'm not a security expert. But when you quietly swap out the luxury foreign gift plane before an international trip and don't explain why, that's not really a no comment. That's a please stop asking. It's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines this hour. And kicking us off, this next one, I really need us to sit in fully. In Houston, an ICE agent shot and killed Lorenzo Salgado Araujo during a traffic stop. He was 35 years working in this country. sending 3 American sons to college, actively pursuing legal status, biometrics done, paperwork filed. And federal officials say that he tried to ram an agent with his car. His sons say bystander video tells a different story. Video that shows little to no damage on his vehicle. His son Ronaldo stood at a press conference and said, quote, "I recognized him, not from his appearance, but from his voice crying for help as he lay on the street." This is not just a headline. That's a family's worst day, replayed publicly, while the federal government controls the only video. LULAC's president said it plainly, this has become, quotes, open season. Shoot first, explain later, and let the family beg for the truth. We've watched this pattern before in different uniforms, different decades, same result. State violence against a black or brown body, followed by a press release justifying it before the family even gets a death certificate. This is the 8th, count them, 8th death connected to federal immigration enforcement encounters since this administration ramped up its crackdown. 8. We're going to keep saying their names. They deserve as much. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. Say it with me. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. And finally, in this segment, Lonnie Bunch, the Smithsonian's secretary and the first Black American to ever hold that position, he just sent a staff memo directly disputing a White House report that accused the Smithsonian of, quotes, extreme political activism and, quotes, a radical view of American history. The White House report, 162 pages, dropped quietly on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, specifically complains that Smithsonian exhibits describe America as, quotes, systemically racist. And it's irritated that this criticism persists even after the country, quote, elected a Black president twice. Now let that sink in. The argument being made in writing by the federal government is that acknowledging historical racism is itself an act of political bias. Meanwhile, Secretary Bunch, a historian, someone who built the National Museum of African American History and Culture from the ground up, is telling his own staff in writing, our scholarship stands, not partisanship, scholarship. This is the same fight it's always been. Who gets to tell the story of this country? And whether telling the whole story is treated as an attack on it. Lonnie Bunch just said in writing, not on my watch. Much respect to Secretary Bunch. When we come forward, we're shifting gears. My guest, Beyond Impact CEO Vincent Jones, and our politics and pop culture correspondent Al Reynolds, they join me. We've got Ben Crump's newest case out of Mississippi, and Trump's finally being forced to pay E. Jean Carroll. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
As a fitness coach, my active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, I'm treating my skin and joint symptoms so I can keep moving. Skyrizi, a prescription-only injection for adults, helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And for those who have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible. With Skyrizi, there's no daily dosing. It's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and joining me now, a man who spent his career turning philanthropic dollars into real community impact. Vincent Jones, CEO of Beyond Impact, is with us, and a voice who always tells us what's actually happening at the intersection of politics and pop culture. Al Reynolds. Gentlemen, welcome back to A More Perfect Union.
You know, I'm glad to be back, but I'm upset.
Uh-oh.
I am upset that Brother Jones' picture looks better than mine on promotional material. And I need to know, who did I need to talk to over in the human resources or graphics department to have that change. That's all I got to say.
There is no universe where Al Reynolds does not look fine as can be. What are you talking about?
Okay, all right. Now you're going to light up these YouTube comments in a second.
Look, don't tempt me with a good time on a Wednesday night.
Well, it's so good to have you all here. Obviously, we have all been just gripped by a number of very tragic stories. One, locally here in Los Angeles, Eric Washington, a beloved public servant, was murdered in Compton, having a lot of people that are just absolutely, in complete despair about what just happened in Compton to this really incredible community leader. And then in Mississippi, the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Let's start there. Nolan, who's 18 years old. He was 18 years old, an athlete out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. He went missing on July 4th, a July 4th boat trip to Horn Island, and is found dead 2 days later. His family has now retained Ben Crump. Al, you track the space pretty closely. What stands out to you about how fast this case escalated to needing a civil rights attorney like Ben Crump?
Well, in my opinion, it had to, because there were too many unanswers. We weren't getting facts. We weren't getting timelines. We weren't getting real witnesses. We didn't have any records. The police was not giving us accountability. And given the scene where you saw 90% of the participants on the island or in the festives did not look like us, of course, this is how they were going to get answers. Now, I want to say this as respectfully as I possibly can. Some lawyers are brilliant courtroom technicians. That's not Ben Crump's lane. Some are constitutional scholars. That's not his lane. And some are even behind the scenes strategists. That's not his lane. But let me tell you what his lane is. Ben Crump is a genius because he not only understands the law, but he understands media. He understands public pressure. He understands grief, and he knows when to play the race card when it comes to national attention to get national answers from people that are trying to sweep something underneath the rug. That's why we hire Ben Crump. That's why we run it up the totem pole or whatever that pole is that we have to run this, ringing the alarm on, because we know that they cannot ignore him and the concerns and the voice that he has, not only in our community, but throughout the nation.
Vincent, from a community impact lens, when a family has to hire a civil rights lawyer just to get a transparent death investigation for their son, what does that tell us about the trust in these systems right now?
In this case, it tells me that those families of those kids have a lot of power. From what I understand, one of their parents is a judge. I think another one is a police chief. They're supremely connected, and all of them, every one of them, their families and the kids, they're no longer on social media. Like, they have coordinated their response. So what that suggests to me, if I was watching this on TV, I would say there's a smoking gun. Something has happened. And you need somebody like Brother Crump who can really be able to drive attention to the matter and try to cut through this cloak of secrecy that these powerful folks have in those families.
I mean, this morning I watched the live stream of conversation that Ben Crump had with Don Lemon on the Don Lemon Show, and learned a number of things, including when Nolan's family got his phone back, there were a number of text messages to some of those kids that were deleted, and so that was another red flag. In addition, we learned that Nolan was actually a good swimmer. I mean, he was, a Division I athlete, and so no surprise there. But we also learned that Nolan, was someone who had been friends with them for some time. This wasn't just sort of like, okay, a random boat trip, but there was some relationship there. They had gone to high school together. And so a lot of people are paying extra close attention to every single detail here, even though it feels very eerie. It feels very eerie. Here we have this story unfolding, and things are perhaps going to get a little eerier because on Friday, they're expecting that independent autopsy. The independent autopsy results, are expecting that on Friday. Al, what should we be paying attention to as information comes out related to that independent autopsy?
So for me, I got to be honest with you. I need to know who the independent autopsy person is. I need to know what their track record is. Who have they worked on in the past? Because when you have powerful people moving in concert, like Brother Jones says, I don't trust anybody unless it's somebody I know personally. I think what we need to look for in particular is wording, narrative, how they explain certain things. If anything sounds fishy, I'm going to say it's fishy. And I know that that's a horrible state to be in, because usually we rely on these types of things to give us clarity. But in this particular case, when 16, 17, and 18-year-olds become more strategic about their phones and their social media than they are about where they go to school and how they make money, we know that it's silence and it's strategy for a reason. So an autopsy, to me, has to be more than just a basic autopsy. It has to give us details. It has to be detailed. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be exhaustive, in my opinion, in order for me to believe it.
Vincent, we know that the Trump Justice Department has been quite hostile to Black communities, investigations that are seeking justice for, civil rights violations. We've seen a complete backsliding from this Department of Justice when it comes to civil rights investigations. Ben Crump said as much in that interview with Don Lemon, where they can't really turn to the federal government for support. And so they have to work with state and local officials in Mississippi. How confident are you that even if they follow the facts in a state like Mississippi, that justice will ultimately be served for Nolan?
If we look at this in a historical perspective, here we go, brother Al, I'm about to give some history. Lynching happened a lot in Mississippi. And I forget the organization, it may have been the NAACP. They did a report recently, like in May or something like that, about modern day lynching. And they found that in the last few years, there's been about 75 or so lynchings that they could definitely say were lynchings. 20 of them were in Mississippi. So something is still happening in Mississippi that we have not addressed, despite all these years of progress, quote unquote progress. And I also want to note we're ominously close to the anniversary of the day that Emmett Till was murdered, August 28th. And I know that date because at Beyond Impact, we're organizing a donor tour to Mississippi to be able to help people to see the conditions on the ground, what we're organizing against to be able to improve the systems that people are living under. Because the state apparatus in Mississippi is still hostile to people who do not have power, people who look like us, people who don't have the resources to hire expensive lawyers. So it is unfortunate right now that the Trump, quote unquote, Justice Department is closed to people who look like us, especially in Mississippi, where people who live there who have not had justice for a long time.
I saw a post that I think Joy Reid might have reposted this afternoon. It looked like one of Nolan's friends had put up sort of a tribute post, and it really just sort of broke my heart. That a young teenage kid is having to put up that kind of tribute post for a friend that obviously meant a lot to him, a friend that nobody was prepared to lose. Al, what's your message to some of the young people out there that may not be as steeped in the history of what's happened in Mississippi, the injustices that have happened in Mississippi, that right now are just saying, wait a minute, what happened to my friend, right? What's your message to some of the young people out there that are getting tapped in to this case?
The message is those stories that your parents tell you, they're not just stories to take up noise or to make noise or to take up time. They're real life stories of lived experiences, and you are not immune to these lived experiences of people that has spanned hundreds of years. Also, I want to say this is why you cannot allow for institutions, educational institutions, high schools to take, even colleges, to take the Black history out of this classroom. This is an opportunity where they're not shocked because they see this, but they understand because they were taught this. So for me, the message to them is, listen, it may feel like different times, But in so many ways, if you knew the history, you would know that time doesn't do anything but repeat itself, especially in the United States.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Switching gears, we know that a judge has ordered the release of the $5.8 million that Trump owed E. Jean Carroll after his team tried to block the payout, at least, at the last minute they did. Al, is anybody really surprised here?
That he had to pay it out?
That ultimately the judge said, run her check.
I am. I am, because he writes their check. The Supreme Court actually said, hey, I think though they had to. Now, if they had allowed this to be overturned, they would have definitely been looked at more than side eye how we look at them now, because this is a basic liable case. This wasn't a criminal case. This is a liable case. He was found liable. How are you going to set a precedence that your lower judges don't have the right or the capacity as lawyers in the Supreme Courts to make these types of decisions? So to even escalate it to the Supreme Court, hopefully to get, one of those, hey, I put you there, you need to give me this one. They would have definitely compromised every single thing about that cabinet. And I'm glad that they didn't. You can spend a lot of this, you can spend this a lot of different ways, but at the end of the day, the sitting president of the United States of America was found liable for sexual assault and abuse, period, point blank.
Vincent, in about a minute, is there a broader lesson here about accountability actually catching up, even slowly, even for the most powerful person in the country?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, because she hasn't gotten her money. What I wish she would do is talk to Cardi B, who has been had her foot on that podcaster's neck about her money, and figure out some ways to be able to get it, because he has to pay that money. And it's unfortunate that he's been found guilty. He probably spent more money fighting paying that money than he will actually pay.
Ain't that some stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, when we come forward, Al's about to
call the graphics department.
Well, that too, but we're going to talk about the flood in political ads. It's some people say it's a leveling tool. Some people say it's a lying machine. We're going to ask Al and Vincent what they think. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Corte on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago leaders are launching a $12 million project to reduce flooding on the city's west side.
$12 million of stormwater storage projects that will reduce flooding on Chicago's west side.
Black Mayor Brandon Johnson and other officials toured the new underground wing storage site, which is designed to help prevent street and basement flooding and protect more than 2,900 buildings across 3 wards. Lawyers say they're ready for a preliminary hearing in the murder case against Black singer David. The 21-year-old, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, is accused of killing 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez and leaving her dismembered body in his Tesla. He has pleaded not guilty. And Will Smith is crediting Philadelphia Mayor Parker, who is Black, with helping make sure his concert still happened after storms caused an hours-long delay over the weekend. Smith had left the area during the weather delay, but later returned to take the stage. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O, get happy with our Healthy Car Special. Includes a full synthetic oil change, 4-tire rotation, alignment check, brake, battery, and windshield wiper check. Plus, fluids topped off, all for only $59.99. Healthy car, happy life. Now at your local Big O Tires.
Is this the dagger?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Add the Philadelphia 76ers to the short list of NBA teams with the best chance of signing LeBron as a free agent. NBA sources claim LeBron has given permission to his management team to review a proposal from the Sixers. The Sixers have become a strong contender in the Eastern Conference after making a trade for All-Star guard Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics. The Sixers have a great young point guard in Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid in the middle, and a rising star in VJ Edgecombe at shooting guard. LeBron is not given a timetable on deciding who he wants to play with for his 24th NBA season. The other teams on LeBron's short list, Golden State, Miami, and Cleveland. Since turning pro in 2018 at the age of 14, African-American tennis star Coco Gauff has earned $32.6 million. She can add $4.75 million to that if she wins her next 2 matches at Wimbledon. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
You can't fix what you won't face, and we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Let's get something straight, shall we? Holding a black elected official accountable is not the same as having a personal beef with them. That distinction matters, and too often it gets blurred, sometimes on purpose, I think. The minute someone raises a real concern about outcomes, about votes, about spending priorities, about broken promises, it gets reframed as an attack, as disrespect, as tearing down our own. We need to stop that, y'all. That framing does a disservice to the very communities these leaders represent. Accountability is not betrayal. Accountability is what elected office requires from everybody, regardless of the seat or who's sitting in it. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you think I have a personal beef with Donald Trump? It ain't personal. It's his anti-black policies. You feel me? So why is it always framed as personal animus when the critique is in black? See, you can miss me with that mess. Black communities have fought too hard and for too long to get representation at the table. That fight doesn't end once someone wins an election and becomes president of the country, or for that matter, the city council. If anything, it raises the stakes. Representation without results is not the goal. Representation that delivers, now that's the goal. So, in the future, when we talk about a policy failure, let's talk about the policy. Let's keep our eyes on the actual record, the votes, the budgets, the promises, the perennially missed deadlines, the outcomes in people's daily lives. Because the moment we start treating accountability as disloyalty, we lose the ability to ask for better from anyone. We must never surrender our agency to be outraged when our leaders underperform. Our communities deserve leaders who welcome scrutiny, not ones who hide behind identity to avoid it. Now, let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
thing.
National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte and delighted to be in conversation with Vincent Jones, the CEO of Beyond Impact, and Al Reynolds, our politics and pop culture correspondent. Since we were on break, a little bit of breaking news. Graham Plattner has dropped his bid for Senate after facing an allegation of rape. NPR is reporting that the scandal-ridden Senate campaign of Graham Plattner in Maine has come to a screeching end after a rape allegation caused nearly everyone of his Democratic allies to withdraw their support. Plattner made the announcement in a video that was posted to social media not too long ago, saying, quotes, "We believe that for the movement to continue, it can't be me. And for that reason, we are suspending campaign operations." We know that he also did not pass up the opportunity to sort of, blame the establishment. Vincent, I know you've been tracking some of the noise from this campaign pretty closely. What do you make of Graham Plattner ending his campaign?
It's a failure of vetting. My understanding is that in this race, the campaign manager chose to go the cheap route and do a less thorough vetting process and didn't surface the things that would have derailed his campaign. And now it has the potential to make it so that our chances of winning back the Senate are less likely. So that's an unfortunate thing. But I'm glad that he did decide to step down or to suspend his campaign. He was acting as if he wasn't going to do that and making it more complicated for the party to find another candidate. It's interesting to see what the state party does, because what I've been reading, that they're trying to figure out a process to be able to find somebody rather than just anoint somebody. Hopefully, whatever they do creates a situation where the final candidate is poised to win, because we need to take that seat.
Al, is it just me, or does this feel like deja vu? Right? Here the Democrats go again. You got another consequential election, a consequential race. And in this case, to Vincent's point, simple vetting could have prevented this from happening. Is it just me, or are Democrats in these races sort of over-indexing and getting in their own way?
No disrespect to you, Brother Jones. No disrespect to you, Brother Dr. Nicordelai. Our president, our sitting president, sir, has been found liable of doing exactly what has caused this man to drop out of an election, right? So you got the president that's getting away with it. So maybe he was like, oh, well, maybe if the sitting president of the United States can get away with such disgusting stuff, maybe I'll have a time too. I'm kidding on that. But it's true, right? Like if your president has the ability to be found liable for sexual assault, right, or abuse, isn't that the same thing, or I would say adjacent or neighbor of what this what this politician is being accused of? I think the good thing here, though, is that he did drop out. Thank goodness. And I think, when you got a sitting president that trivializes the political process and the political figures in America, you can't be upset when other people want to emulate it.
Vincent, to Al's point, I think there are a number of people on the internet and off that point out the difference in how Republicans and Democrats respond to allegations like this. There are a number of folks who have noted that if Graham Plattner was running as a Republican in Maine, he probably would get the Ken Paxton treatment from Texas, meaning they would say press on, right? Deny, deny, deny. Right. I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't, but what do you make of folks who raise that question? The question that Democrats, seem to fold perhaps, too early. or Democrats, play by a different playbook, a different moral code than Republicans?
I'm going to take a slight difference. I was watching something earlier talking about this case, and it was talking about at what point do we allow for forgiveness? No one is perfect, and we can't imagine that every person runs for office is going to have an unblemished record. I mean, it's funny. So the other day I had dinner with a high school teacher, and we talked about something that happened way back then, and we joked how we were glad that we didn't have cell phone cameras everywhere at that point in time.
Right.
But nowadays, people are growing up in a world where every moment is photographed, good, bad, or indifferent. And so you're going to capture something, you're going to say something that's going to upset somebody. So how do we create space for people to be able to be imperfect, to forgive, to have their actions show that they forgive, and be able to run? In this case, it's a little bit different because the allegations are a little fresher. It's I always tend to believe victims, but I also believe people have a right to a trial, to be able to be tried in court. So we haven't had that ability to do that. It's too recent. If they would do proper vetting, he would have known that all these things would have come out, and it would have been a distraction and a very sensitive race. So I don't think Democrats in this case are making the wrong move. I think in general, as a society, we have to create space for forgiveness and for people to run for office who are not these perfect images of in the past.
Well, shifting gears, there is a piece. There's a piece that is out that's asking whether AI can equalize political campaign advertising or whether it just becomes a faster, cheaper tool for spreading lies. Out, pop culture and politics collide right here. What's your read?
Well, listen, let's not pretend like politicians haven't been lying for a long time. I think what AI is doing, in my opinion, is not rewriting that narrative, but what it's doing, it makes the lie look expensive. It makes the lie sound official. It moves it fast through the ecosystem better, right? It gives us this kind of dressed up luxury feel good that we should trust. And as you know, this new generation, they really value trust. Like my generation, I'm Gen X, right? You had to have achievement. You had to have success, and you had to have experience in order for us to trust you, right? The baby boomers, you had to be, what school did you go to? How long have you worked in the industry? How did you serve? You had to be convinced by that resume. This new generation, the millennials and the Gen Zs, they are all about how does it look and how does that look make them feel. And that's when it becomes dangerous, because now anybody can make something a lie, a slander, any ugly thing. They could turn a campaign into a smear campaign against someone, and depending on how they craft it and how they make it look, people believe it without checking sources, because those generations don't check lived experiences and background and where do they go to school and how long have they been in politics. It's not required anymore. So for me, that's the part of AI that really frightens me, and it takes it from elevating things to making things very dangerous.
Vincent, from an impact and equity lens, who benefits and who gets hurt first?
Did I lose you all?
When no, you're still there. We can hear you. But back to Vincent, I was saying from an impact and equity lens, who benefits and who gets hurt first when AI generated disinformation, when it hits communities that are already targeted by voter suppression tactics?
I think if we take a step back on this topic, the AI industry is flooding the political airwaves with all kinds of money. And they're using AI, they're using regular tactics to be able to get their way. They're having a really big impact on primary elections. So that way, if there are people who don't support their view on regulation, they try to make it so that the average voter doesn't even see them. And by and large, from a 2-to-1 ratio, they've been giving money to Republicans. So we can look at the ads, at the product of the industry, and talk about the impact it's having. But I want to take a bigger step and look at the industry and how they're impacting the choices that we have as voters, and the way they're impacting the election process is definitely having a negative impact on people who look like us, people who want to make sure that their water is not being sucked up by data centers and so on and so forth. So we need to do more to make sure that we are looking at how they're impacting our election process.
Well, speaking of doing more, we know that there are Republicans that are attempting to do more to prove that Mitch McConnell is alive. Republican leadership is trying to tamp down growing speculation about Mitch McConnell's health as a quiet rebellion builds within the GOP ranks. Al, what are you hearing?
All right, I'm trying to be as respectful as I possibly can, because this is a person that is dealing with health issues, and I do wish him the best as it relates to recovery. And even as an elderly person, being a caregiver for my elderly parents, the dignity part of that, I totally get it. But let me be very clear about what I'm saying. You serve in a public office. You don't serve in a private family office where everything is based around privacy. You serve in a public office. You've been doing it for decades. So now that you are frail and that you are sick, you can't just decide that you want to check out and keep that private. Especially not when your whole side of the lane drugged Joe Biden like he was like a rag doll. If he misspoke, if he paused for a sentence, if he stumbled, his cognitive abilities were questioned. His health was a question. Was he able to lead? Only for now, when it's on your side of the aisle, when it's one of your family members, you now want privacy. No, it doesn't. We're going to have the same heat. We're going to show up the same visceral, disgusting narrative that you did when it was happening on our side of the aisle. Unfortunately, this is emotional for me because I am tired of this administration having a double standard across the board about everything. I guess if nothing else, they're consistent, right? But it's just not fair. What you dish, you should be able to receive when it's your turn.
And speaking of folks dishing stuff out, a lot of folks are paying attention to what LAPD is dishing out, or at least intending to dish out in 2028. LAPD is actually considering canceling police academy classes just to free up more officers for street patrol ahead of the 2028 Olympics. Vincent, what's your gut reaction to that kind of short-term staffing logic?
I think it's BS. I think if they go through with that, it will be a shame, because the Olympics is an opportunity to show our city to the world. And what do you want to show them? Police? That's not the LA that I want the world to see. You know, the LA 84 Olympics set the model for the modern Olympics. It was the first one to turn a profit. There was a foundation created by the profits from that Olympics that's still helping people in inner cities and underserved children to be able to have access to play and athletic activities and whatnot. And if we can't recreate that success in LA for the next Olympics and do it safely with the police we have now, because I'm certain we have more police now than we did then, even as a percentage of the population. And I don't believe that we need to have more police. This would be a disaster. And I'm sure people will fight against it.
And there are a lot of people who point to the fact that, you know, cities like LA have record low crime right now.
Right.
And so what's the justification for even more police when you have record low crime? And so obviously an issue we're going to continue to track. When we come forward, we got one more story before we close, and it's a big one, a new global cancer report from the World Health Organization. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Are you feeling the heat? LADWP can help you stay cool this summer and save money. Through the Cool LA program, eligible customers can receive instant rebates of up to $275 on new portable, window, and wall air conditioners. Shop the Cool LA Marketplace today and beat the heat and save. Learn more and apply at ladwp.com/cool-LA. That's ladwp.com/cool-LA.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
As the poet laureate of Harlem, Langston Hughes, once said, I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll sit at the table when company comes. Nobody dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. KBLA Talk 1580 and the Inner City Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles invite you to attend the 18th season finale concert, I Too Sing America, honoring the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, this Sunday, July 12, 3 p.m. at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Curated by conductor Charles Dickerson and performed by the largest orchestra of color in the nation, I Too Sing America promises to be a show you won't soon forget. This Sunday, July 12, 3 p.m. at the Walt Disney Concert Hall in downtown Los Angeles. Purchase tickets at icyola.org or from the Music Center box office at musiccenter.org.
I too sing America.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
So we close today. It's time for the quiet part out loud. And we close today with something bigger than any one headline. The World Health Organization is out with a new report projecting cancer cases will soar worldwide. And this part matters most to us. It points to persistent inequities in intervention, in diagnosis, and treatment. Translation, it's not that we don't know how to catch cancer early or treat it well. It's that access to that knowledge, access to that care is still split along the same old lines: income, geography, and yes, that's right, you guessed it, race. Now, I don't know a single family in our community, mine included, that hasn't been touched by the disease in some form or another. A mother, an uncle, a coworker, a pastor, and too often our stories involve a diagnosis that came late, not because the disease was sneaky, but because the system was slow to listen to us. It was slow to screen us. It was slow to believe our pain was real. So here's my ask today and every day: check on the people you love, not just how are you, but really ask. Encourage the screening. Sit with somebody at the appointment that they're scared to go to alone. We cannot out-argue a global health inequity in one broadcast, but we can absolutely make sure that the people in our own circle are not falling through the cracks because nobody asked twice. In our remaining minutes, Vincent and Al, I want to give you a chance to quickly sort of speak the name of anyone that you know that is a survivor or whose story should serve as an inspiration that encourages us all to pull up and show up for people fighting cancer.
Well, I'll share. My mother had cancer, and luckily she beat it. It was caught very early. She is someone who avails herself of healthcare, was able to find it early and get treatment. A friend of mine named Jack, he felt something in his side, his abdomen. He went to doctor once. Oh, it's nothing. Twice. Oh, it's nothing. So he went to a different doctor. That doctor said, oh, you're going to surgery tomorrow. And it turned out that he had cancer. He has treated it in different ways for a while, and ultimately he died of it. Now, we won't know if that doctor the first time would have listened and done the right things, would he still be alive today? But it's definitely a tale of two cancer diagnoses, where one found it early, got treated early and lived. The other one, it was not found early, and now they're dead.
Al, in about a minute.
I want to speak to my brother, Ed Reynolds, who stage 4 cancer and, was able to beat it. He's still in remission right now. And I think the sad part is one thing that we're all understanding, especially in the African-American community, as we are getting the diagnosis later, it is putting a financial crisis in our community in a deeper level than it ever has before in order to just live. And I think that's the part that we've got to be more vocal about. And that's the effects of cancer, not only in the body, but on the community, because I'm telling you, he's walking away from this with, a bill close to $500,000. And he's in his 60s. So when he should be in his golden years of enjoying his life, he now has this increased pressure and stress of now protecting his legacy and the wealth that he passes on, because a part of that wealth is going to be taken. And in many people's cases, it's going to be the transfer of debt, which is a scary conversation, but we definitely should start having it.
Well, thank you to both of you for doing your part to seed that conversation to all of us. That is our show for today. Vincent Jones, Al Reynolds, thank you both. To everybody, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners that are watching and riding home with us, take care of your body, take care of your peace, take care of each other. Remember, don't panic, organize, do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. My thanks to the entire village that produces a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, brother Andy, to our show producers, Faraji and Art. We thank all of you. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. You've been listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, that was cute.
Rivas Hernandez and leaving her dismembered body in his Tesla. He has pleaded not guilty. And Will Smith is crediting Philadelphia Mayor Parker, who is black, with helping make sure his concert still happens.